Welcome to the boxing shop. Now you're on the YouTube portion. If you were lucky enough to be a part of the live stream, good for you. If you're just seeing us now for the first time, go on to OnlyFans, bro. Come fucking hang out with us over there. Come interact with us over there.
That's where the fun stuff is happening. The first 10 minutes of this podcast, you'll never see again. You'll only see it when you tune in live. Same as next week.
Will it stay up on OnlyFans? How does this work? Can you edit that part?
It's not going to stay up on OnlyFans.
Right, because you're going to... will the full episode also go up here on OnlyFans?
No.
Okay.
I could put it up there if I wanted to, but I'm going to put the... I'm going to clip it up. I'm going to clip out that first 10 minutes, of course, and then that's going to go on YouTube, and we could chop that up and put it on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah. You don't think people want to watch 10 minutes of us figuring out how to do our show?
They will. And whatever other bullshit comes along, that's what they're going to see. They're in the first few minutes of the live stream. They won't see that on the recap.
Yeah. Well, we here, baby.
Let's do it, man.
On OnlyFans.
So Tszyu stops Tony Harrison. I didn't see any of the undercard.
We don't want to go in order.
So that's hold on. Let me get out what I was gonna say. I didn't watch a whole lot of boxing this weekend. It was busy. I watched Tszyu and Tony Harrison, so I'll let you guys lead the way because I was MIA after the expert hour on Friday night. I covered for Lukey, and after that, I was MIA till I caught the Tszyu and Charlo fight, which threw me off because it was already late night, and I was like, "Damn, I already missed the fight, so I'll just catch it later or whatever." And then I saw you guys in the chat, and I was like, "Yo, is this fight barely happening?" Like it was like 10 p.m. here, West Coast time, so I can only imagine East Coast. Like that was probably one of the latest fights that I've ever remember. What was that like for you, Dakota, out there in the East?
I mean, yeah, it was a little weird. I was kind of out and about Saturday night, so I kind of gotten home, to catch the last couple of rounds live, and then I caught the replay in the morning, so I could see the whole fight all the way through. I mean, I think we should just jump right into this one. There was so much boxing this weekend, but I mean, I think Tszyu is the real deal. I'm not saying that he got the best version of Tony Harrison, but I think he did all the things that you want to see, like the patient aggression, the kind of knowing to turn the heat up a little bit every single round until the water's boiling. You know what I mean? And I don't think that he's like a Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. or something like that. I think he's a whole separate thing from his pops, and I think he's a really good fighter.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah, I thought not much you could criticize him for, right? Like,
yeah,
I think it was like a coming out party. I think that's probably his biggest fight. I know he did fight over here, but I feel like this was all right. This is Tszyu, especially already knowing what he has lined up, what should have been the fight this time. And I thought he put on a performance that you can't really criticize, right? Like, he showed he's very crowd friendly, goes forward, throws big shots. Like I said, you can't criticize him. I thought he won every round except maybe that first, and that's just because he really didn't do anything.
And maybe I gave Tony 2 rounds. I think maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, it was a dominant performance, and just how he got him out of there, bro. That was mean. Like the multiple uppercuts, just really throwing caution to win. I mean, he at that point he already knew what he had in front of him, but to like still go ahead and put him out, thought it was impressive, and it lines up the Charlo fight and makes it me now. I mean, I still think Charlo gets that. I don't think you want to get into a firefight with Charlo, and Tszyu looks like he's looking for a firefight at all times. But that's like a good fight now. Like it built up that fight, even though we were supposed to get it and it got canceled for what I believe an injury. That fight is bigger now because of Tszyu's performance this past weekend.
Yeah, it only builds on the fight. It's only going to make it a bigger fight. He's got some kind of bullshit fucking interim belt, but what are you going to do? It helps. It does kind of help make the fight bigger. I mean, I'll be honest. I think he has the kind of style that I don't know if he's going to win the fight, but I think he's got that style that's similar to Brian Castano that clearly bothers Jermell. Somebody that's really physical and aggressive and has like good defense.
My thing is, it as impressed as I was with Tim over the weekend, and it was a great performance. I'm with Ray. I still don't think he beats Charlo. And I agree with you too, Dakota. I do see a little bit of Brian Castano in Tim, but I just don't see the openings I see with Tim and the holes and the weaknesses I do see in him, which isn't a whole lot. I mean, he's a really good fighter.
Yeah.
But I see him being, not necessarily food for Charlo, but food for Charlo, if you know what I mean.
He definitely gets hit with a jab. I mean, Tony has a great jab, but you can hit Tim Tszyu with a jab. He doesn't look like he's too worried about it.
He did exactly what he needed to do over the weekend, but I still think Charlo gets him.
But after this past weekend, I give Tim Tszyu a better chance.
Yeah,
and I think that fight served its purpose, right? Because I had going into this fight, I said we know what we get from Harrison, right? We know what Harrison is, and we don't know what Tszyu is at this point, And he got the guy out of there, and that's what you want to see, and springboarding into that next fight. And it's a fight, right? Because he's got power, he throws a lot, he goes forward. I just do think that's kind of when Charlo's at his best. Like obviously, Hassan gave him a good fight, but I think in the second fight, at least, like that's Charlo shined. Even though it was tough, like it allowed that style allows Charlo to kind of do what he does best, and I feel like that is like countering in between with big punches. And so when he has Tim Tszyu in front of him, I mean, I think we're gonna get a firefight. And I'm just saying, I don't think you want to get into a firefight, because then I feel like that's when Charlo's at his best. He'll catch you with something that you didn't see coming or whatever.
That's true, and that is kind of how Charlo operates a little bit too. And I'm with you as well too. I think he does have a better chance now than he did, a week ago, and it's only going to help his confidence too, knowing that he can hang with the top guy. And it's like you said, he beat the guy who beat the guy. So
I didn't like that fight math. I beat the guy that beat me, so now I'm the guy. Like, I mean, that's good. Not taking away from him. Like,
he was just excited.
Yeah, like if that's what you got to put in your head, like go for it, bro. Whatever you need. I'm just saying, me personally, I'm like, man, there's holes in that. There's holes in that. I'm like, like to me, Harrison wasn't really in there to win that fight from the beginning. Whether that was the pressure that Tszyu was putting on, I just felt like he never really gave himself a chance to win that fight, right? Like that right hand was, I mean, he threw it probably, I don't even know if it got double digits, right? Like the jab at times looked amazing, and solid, like popped Tszyu's head back a few times, but I feel like that's all we got from him. I don't know if it was age or whatever, but I just felt like there was more Harrison could have did. And to me, kind of from round one, like on the back foot, jabbing, like he was there to kind of.
He gave up ground immediately, bro. He gave up his ground immediately. It was like 10 seconds into the fight. He's almost at the ropes, and there wasn't a punch down.
Well, he gave it, and then he never looked to even get it back, right? Because he did land, like I recall one time, like a jab, boom, right hand, and it's not like he pushed it. He went right back into the ropes. They kept mentioning the small ring. I don't know the dimensions of it, but I feel like he was not there to put it on Tim Tszyu in any way. It was just kind of there to survive, and he did it. Credit to Tszyu.
Yeah, I mean, aside from his mentality, I thought physically, Tony Harrison doesn't look the same. I mean, both Charlo fights, the Jarrett Hurd fight, he was boxing and moving around the ring beautifully. Sergio Garcia, he's boxing, moving around the ring beautiful. Now he kind of plods around the ring. He kind of goes for a walk after he throws his jab, and there's just not enough offense. I definitely, I can't speak to whether, he wasn't committed to winning it. It didn't look like it. I just wonder how much of that is physical. Like, it just didn't look like his legs are the same guy.
Yeah,
You're right.
And yeah, like you said, I hate. I mean, only he knows, right? Like it's real easy for me to say, "Oh, he didn't look like this" or
But I
whatever.
agree with you. I agree with you. I thought he looked extremely passive and just sort of resigned to what the fight was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like maybe it's not fair, right? I don't know what's going on, but as me just viewing, talk. It's like even post fight, right? Like I didn't even sense the fire was there when they called the fight off because it was kind of questionable. Like some guys, hey,
I
let
think
that.
it got stopped late, bro. Honestly,
Really?
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like once they counted the knockdown, they start the count and he gets up. Like he looked all right. Like I'm just saying there was no pushback onto like why'd you stop it? Post fight interview, he was just like, yeah, whatever. He said, I'm not here to critique him or give whatever. I just felt like maybe that passion or some fire was missing, right? And I don't know. He fought all the way over in Australia. Maybe that takes something out of you. I don't know anything. I'm just calling it like I see it, and I just felt like there was I guess not the Harrison we've kind of seen in the past. I just felt like there was no fire to him.
and no bounce. There wasn't any other than his jab too. There wasn't any real snap on any of his shots. I thought his best bet, he wasn't going to outpunch him, so I thought his best bet was to just be a lot faster and kind of keep him off balance with the speed and the movement. And that just wasn't there at all. And some of that is what Tim was bringing to the table, but it definitely wasn't. Even in losing efforts, it's not what we're used to from Tony.
And then let me be hypocritical and say Tim Tszyu had too much fire. Like, bro, come on, post fight, like the whole "what's my name? Say my name." Like, chill, bro. Like,
That
to
was
me,
a
that
little
was over
much.
the top. But
Yeah.
I mean, that place, it looked sold out. I don't know. It was a big arena. I understand the
They don't get
energy.
too many of those, bro. It was a big
Yeah,
moment.
the adrenaline. I'm just saying, while I'm watching it the first time, okay,
Yeah.
what, and then the second time, and then it kept on. I'm like, okay, like, well, let's reel it in a little. But I mean, but that's a boxing fan, right? I don't like that Harrison didn't have, and then I don't like that Tszyu had too much. But yeah, man, I'm just a fan of the game, and I just call it how I see it.
Hey, can't get mad at that at all. I thought the what's my name stuff was a little crazy too, but I mean I get it. He's trying to separate himself from Tszyu, which we've covered on the show. There's no real relation between the two, and it's ironic because
he's a mirror image of that guy, isn't he?
Yeah, mirror image. The way he throws his right hand, like his body movement, similar. Obviously, the name, it's hard to run away from that, and obviously the public doesn't really know what the story is with them two. Because I hopped on Twitter this morning, and I seen some people too talking about, I hope there's not a rift between the Tszyu family and this and that. So it's like a lot of people don't really know and understand the Tim Tszyu story, and hopefully, when the Charlo fight does come around, we get that whole story. You know what I mean? Maybe, hey, shit, maybe we're the ones to break that story to the public. You know what I mean? Maybe one of us goes to Australia and does an episode of the Fight Life on Tim Tszyu.
I would love to do that, bro.
Hey, we still going to Japan for Fulton anyway?
I'll go to Japan, bro. Send me to Japan.
Somebody's got to go down there, man.
I'm out there, bro. I'll be an international guy. I was actually working to get my passport renewed today, so I'll be prepared.
Oh man, I forgot. I actually got to get my actual travel ID updated too. Have you guys got that? Just to travel out of state, to fly, you guys got to get that little star shit on your ID.
We live in the United States, right?
Yeah, no.
You just fly another state.
No, look it up. Look it up. You can just to fly domestically throughout the United States, you got to have you got to go to the DMV. You got to have your ID updated or whatever. There's like a little star or something on there.
I'm calling cap on that, bro.
Bro, it was supposed to pass in like 2020, but because of COVID, they pushed the date out. Look it up if you don't believe it. It's the new flight restrictions or something. You have to, if you don't have it, if you don't have that, or a passport, you won't even be able to fly domestically.
I might have to look that up because I'm gonna be flying next month.
I hope it didn't already go into effect. Otherwise, I'm fucked. I gotta go to
I just
the
flew
DMV.
recently, bro, and I didn't have any stars by my name.
All right. I'm gonna look it up right now.
What if I can get one of my
I
elementary?
will tell you. I will tell you what is different though that I noticed at an airport. Like usually you show, your boarding pass or your ticket, whatever. Now they just run your ID. Like they just take your ID and they enter it in or something. And I guess they know if you have a flight or if you purchased a flight or something based off just your ID. That was new to me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I'll get to take the 21-hour flight to Australia one of these days, however the fuck long it is. And that'll definitely be interesting. Hopefully we'll get to see it, to kind of wrap that segment up. Hopefully we get to see Tszyu and Charlo, sometime early summer, late spring, sort of the ideal time for it. Doesn't seem like Tim took a lot of punishment. I think it more so comes down to Jermel's hand, what the status of that is. Hand injuries are tough, bro. I know people like to talk shit about fighters that have to pull out from injuries, but especially as a boxer, hand injuries are a real bitch, bro.
No, yeah. And then when they enter that fight and you see they got winning gloves, I'm like,
especially if you're a puncher.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think Canelo had winning gloves at one point. I don't know. I just, whenever I see winning gloves, I'm like, something happened or something's up. But
right,
you don't know.
It's not to say you can't heal from it either. So
my bad. I was looking this up. It's called the.
You're still on the flight shit.
Yeah, I'm still on the flight shit. I'm gonna keep looking it up, but you need it too, Ray. I looked up for your state too. You definitely need it, and the deadline is May 7th of 2023.
Link me.
I will. I'm gonna put this in here in the chat for you, in the private chat, so you can see that right now.
By the way, speaking of private chat and public chat, I don't know that we can see if people are commenting.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me see. I'm gonna log into my phone
because I'm looking at my screen right now. I'm sorry to anybody who's watching. This is the first time we're doing this.
Yeah, we're having fun here tonight.
It says when streaming to a custom destination, StreamYard won't be able to show viewer comments. So,
yeah.
And then I clicked learn more. It's got all the custom RTMP. That's the OnlyFans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It says we can't read the comments. So
I know how. I'll figure this out. Hold on.
I don't know if anybody's in here, but
I don't either. We'll find out. Oh yeah, there's people watching. What's up, guys? People watching at home. I don't know who's watching, but there's people watching.
We appreciate it.
Hey, definitely appreciate it. You know what? I'll take a shot for that. For you guys watching at home right now, supporting the first ever live stream on OnlyFans, first official live stream, because we've done a couple of the Boxing Shop release, but here you go.
First exclusive,
yeah.
There we go.
So we can make it so that we can see everybody's comments.
In this chat, no. You have to go to the OnlyFans page to see that. That's where I went right now to see it.
Okay, and you can respond from there. And can you put it up on the screen or not?
Let's see. I'm gonna try. We're gonna test this out.
Well, he's testing that, Dakota. That the fight before the main event
on the Tszyu.
How bad was that?
I didn't see it.
Oh, you did yourself a favor, bro.
What was it? Who was it?
The gold medalists. I think Asuko or something. Ausko. Bro,
I'm gonna go on BoxRec right now.
That was granted, bro. I saw the last 3 rounds. That guy ain't it. I'll tell you that right now.
Right. Where did you watch it?
Man, I think on Showtime.
Because at least on my Showtime, it was only the main event.
Okay.
Paulo Acuso against Yuniesky Gonzalez. Actually, I caught the tail end of that. I think maybe I got the last couple of rounds of that.
That's about as much as I saw. So I saw the last 3 rounds. I just feel like at where he's at. So what 4 fights and they're already talking. You know, obviously they're moving him on fast. You got to be impressive in it, and you know, just he kept doing this to the crowd. That was a dead crowd. Like for that many people, and you're the representative. Man, you got to take risks sometimes. And I don't even feel like he was in danger. Um, I mean, maybe that's the learning curve in the pro game that he'll learn. But that was just I just was like, man, this is really bad. Didn't do himself any favors. Luckily, you know, Zhu did what he did because he just to me it was a complete waste of that crowd, a complete waste of the platform he had. He won the fight, but it's just like, you know, you got to make people want to see you again, especially when you're in there with someone that you're that much better than.
He's definitely got skills.
Yeah.
He's definitely got some skills. And I think, you know, he's 4-0. Unieski Gonzalez, a much more experienced guy. But yeah, you do have to capitalize on it a little more. I mean, the last little bit I saw, he did look good, but he definitely was not as active as I think he could have been against a guy that he has a lot more talent than, and he's a lot younger than.
Yeah, that was my own. Like I said, I watched 3 rounds of it, and I'm glad I didn't see more of it. It's just I was just amazed that like you have that crowd there, and they want to erupt. You're just
right, and
you know,
he's Australian, right? He's in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They
country.
wanted to, and when the crowd's that dead, and I mean, you could keep doing this all you want, but like they want to see action. And he just
you gotta give him something to respond to.
Yeah. So,
was there anything worth watching on the card? I know we talked about it on Friday, and Jack had even said this is really just Tszyu and Harrison. There's nothing worth watching on the card.
I mean, it looks like Tim's younger brother Nikita Tszyu won, got a 4th round stoppage against 7-0 Bo Belbin. So that's I guess of somewhat significance that there's a younger brother who's getting knockouts and winning fights.
That's not Costa's son, though, right?
well, if he's Tszyu,
I believe it is.
I guess true.
I believe it is.
Interesting.
I saw highlights of him online. He looks like, I mean, he's 4-0. He's a young kid. He looks like a decent little prospect. I mean, the other fight of some significance was Sam Goodman, undefeated Sam Goodman beat TJ Daheny, who challenged Danny Roman for a belt a few years back, has been in with some guys. Sam Goodman getting a unanimous decision over him, another Australian native. It was very much a local card, which is, you know, good for them, bro. They're, you know, I think they have about as much talent in Australia as, you know, as they have in a long time.
Yeah, for sure. And is that Jeff Fennick that's training Tszyu?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I saw him in the corner. Yeah, that is. I mean, that's a good look for him. Let me see. Let me Google that. Yeah, I think it is him. But yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's gonna be interesting to see. You know, this is at a certain level. He's fighting a former champion that's maybe a little over the hill. It's going to be interesting to see how his levels go up, you know, the higher the competition he fought. I remember when I talked to Avril Matthew before she fought Romola, you know, she was saying like, you know, Australia is literally, you know, it's not near anything. It's like a giant island continent. And a lot of boxers just don't ever get out of Australia. And so there's only a certain kind of style you see. There's only so many different kinds of fighters you're in there with. And a lot of times, you know, the Australian fighters will get to the title fight, but they won't win it, or they just, you know, they come up short in a lot of cases. So, you know, that's why Gamboa is such a big deal. And I think that's why, you know, it was such a big deal that Tszyu won. Should we move on to the zone card?
Let's go for it. I don't have the zone, so I'm just gonna be sitting here listening to you guys for a couple of minutes.
I saw the main event, so
bro, I'm really high on Diego Pacheco, dude.
That's what Jack was talking about too. Tell me about Diego.
I mean, bro, he's just a big, tall, super middleweight that spars with David Benavidez. He's like 22 years old, and he's big, strong.
Yeah.
Kind of in some ways like Tim Tszyu, just real patient, but very aggressive, very front foot, good defense. Doesn't really get caught with anything stupid. Was in with a decent opponent and made it look very easy, you know?
Yeah, right now, Diego Pacheco, if he's fighting and you don't like until he fights those top guys, those top 10, take the under, right? Because he's a lot better than these guys. And he shows it, man. Like he's real calculated. And like I think you just said, patience, right? Like the first round, I felt like he didn't do much, and if you're gonna figure that guy out, like that's acceptable. The way kind of Tszyu did, right? Like he just kind of figured it out and turned it up. You said it about Tszyu earlier. Each round kind of turned it up more and more. And then when he had his guy hurt, man, he did his thing.
And the power is scary.
Yeah. And I mean, this came through my head as I'm watching it, right? Because I watched the All Access, David Benavidez, Caleb Plant. And I noticed David looked like he'd been getting touched up. Like he had the thing on his nose.
Yeah, a little shiner on his nose.
And I'm like, yo, I'm crediting Diego Pacheco until somebody tells me different. And so that's why I was kind of even more hyped, for this fight. I was also glad to see Jose Benavidez Sr. there, right? Because I was going into, I was like, how's that going to work? Is he going to take time away? And man, he could have just did the weekend, but to see him there showed me they have a lot into Diego Pacheco, right? Like they're not just going to send an assistant out. Benavidez Sr. was there with him in the corner, and to me, that even just further cemented how much, or how good Diego Pacheco is, right? Like, even if it's a fight that he should win, to see Benavidez Sr. go there, to me, that showed a lot. And I say that because, we've seen Robert Garcia with, when he was with Virgil Ortiz, and I think Franco fought the same night, and he went to the Franco fight because he said, Virgil Ortiz would be fine. Turns out that was probably maybe one of the reasons why Virgil Ortiz left. I don't know, but I like look at that, right? And I thought maybe Benavidez Sr. might do that, but to see him there overseas in Liverpool, that showed me like, hey, they know that that's a real guy right there.
And listen, bro, Jack Cullen dominated Avni Yildirim, and I'm not saying that that's a totally world-class guy, but that's a guy who got a title shot against Canelo not too long ago, gave Anthony Durrell hell a couple of years back, and Jack Cullen beat him pretty easily. So, he was a pretty, at least at a high level at the European level. You know what I'm saying? To be doing that in your early 20s is very impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, also, like, okay, even if you go in thinking Diego Pacheco is going to beat this guy, like, there's a lot of fights like that, right? Like, Diego Pacheco's in the point of his career where whoever he fights, he should beat. But still, a lot of guys don't look impressive doing it. He still looked impressive. And that's what I take away from that, right? Like, he still, I think the over-under was 6 or 5.5 or something. Under. Like, he's a legit guy, 168, young, like big guy.
And you're seeing him do it with the skills too. He's not just physically overwhelming these guys. He's smart. He's a smarter boxer.
Yeah,
he's a better boxer.
Yeah, and you can see how he went about that fight, right? Like it was, I think even the knockout punch, maybe it wasn't a counter, it was a combination, but to the body, you know. And then the way he just ended it was nasty, right? Like it was the accuracy on it, like the right hand and the left hook. Yeah, man, I think he's the real deal. And I don't expect to see him maybe at that top level for a couple years because he is so young. But being in that camp and being with David and me seeing that David's face is a little marked up, like I said, I have no idea if that was Pacheco doing it, but I think that's a real guy. That's all I can say. That's a real guy right there.
I mean, I'd like to see Pacheco in with like a Jose Uzcategui, you know, somebody like that, maybe like Carlos Gongora. There's some good contenders. Who's the guy that Rosado lost to? Ali Akhmedov. I think that's a good opponent for Pacheco. I don't know if they're trying to move him that fast, but I think in the next year and change, he's talented enough for sure to be fighting with guys at that level.
Yeah, and it's crazy, like, because yeah, it is. How fast do you move them? And I would think that timetable kind of maybe might play into what happens March 25th, right? Like, if David wins, there's no really reason to rush Diego, right? Because they're never gonna fight. You would hope. But you know, if David gets knocked off, then hey, like, who's gonna take that crown? So,
and by the way, he's fucking 6'4". He's 6'4" at super middleweight. I mean, he's basically the same size as Callum Smith, but he's like thicker. You know, I feel like he could easily be a cruiserweight at some point.
Yeah, young guy, a lot of skills, a lot of power. Like you said, I think the only question is how fast do they move him? What's the goal? But I mean, whatever they decide, if they want to move him quick, I think he's probably up for it. And if they don't want to move him too quick, then we're going to get a lot of short nights with highlight knockouts.
And I do think I genuinely do think he'll move up in weight at some point. Like, and light heavyweight is, you know, within the next couple of years, will be retired within the next 4 or 5 years. You know, I don't know how long Bivol will be around. He'll probably be around for a while, but yeah, I think he's the future man. I think him and David Morrell is the Ward Kovalev of the next generation. Like, I just think that's going to be the two top guys in the not too distant future.
So do you think it's a fight that definitely, the one this past weekend, is that definitely worth going out of my way to try to find and watch?
Of Diego, I would, yeah. I mean, I think he's
bro. A short fight. You're gonna be entertained. Like I said, he started off maybe a little slow, but then just built, and then it's like he got the word, like, all right, let's get him out of here. And a decent opponent, right? Like you said, he had some decent wins, and for this kid to come up and get him out of there, and also just for him to be fighting over in Liverpool, to me, that's impressive, right? He's going over there, hostile territory, and it didn't even seem to faze him at all.
Wow. I'll definitely be looking for this. You guys got me sold on this kid now for sure.
Yeah, bro, and you know, doing it for the opportunity. I don't know if either of you got to see the fight between Dara Foley and Robbie Davies Jr. You guys know anything about this fight?
No.
So a couple of years ago, he's kind of the only guy to really do it. But a couple of years ago, Robbie Davies blasted out Hank Lundy in 2 rounds. Very good fighter, very tough guy. Gets dropped in the 3rd round to this guy, Dara Foley, who I've never heard of, and I know a lot of the deep cuts. So he gets dropped, gets up, looks like he's good, and then gets dropped again, but it didn't look like he got hit. So there was a little bit of confusion, and then they played the instant replay. Kid literally just snaps his ankle in half. Because his legs were still, you know, a little loose, and he goes to step back, and usually, you know, you roll it to the outside. He catches the inside of his foot on the ring, and it snaps the other way. And it was one of the worst injuries I've seen in a boxing match ever. And I felt horrible for the kid because he's a good fighter, and he was like basically a contender. But it's a great win for this guy, Dara Foley, kind of an upset performance. And, you know, you hate to see it end like that. But yeah, that's right up there with like Sean Livingston.
I'm gonna have to check that out. That sounds gruesome.
I haven't heard that name in a while, man. Shout out Sean Livingston.
Bro, you remember that? Bro, I can't watch that anymore. I mean, this wasn't that bad, but it's that if he had done that to an ankle, you know what I mean? Like, he just snaps his ankle in half, bro. It's disgusting.
Yeah, that was horrible. I've seen a few injuries like that before, and every single time it's like I've never seen it before. It's disgusting to see.
Oh, Gordon Hayward. I don't know
Gordon
if you remember
Hayward.
that one. That one's unwatchable.
What's his name? Paul George.
Oof.
Oh yeah, I remember the Paul George one.
Basketball's got some bad ones because it's guys that are like jumping up high in the air and coming down on a really hard surface.
Well, yeah, basketball. I credit them as being the most athletic guys in sports. All right, like because there's no reason why 6'8" guys should be jumping out of the gym the way they do and the speed and everything. And then when you see something happen, you just know there's so much torque on the bones and that. And when you see it happen, and then I mean we mentioned Gordon Hayward and Paul George, and they both come back, and still.
Takes a long time,
athletes like that. That's amazing.
It takes a long time though, man.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Klay Thompson. Look at it took Gordon Hayward a season and change to get himself like those injuries take a long time, and they're getting the best PT you could get in America. Imagine if one of us did it. I don't think we'd be getting the same PT.
Right.
Sean Livingston.
Yeah, I think what do you call it? I've lost my train of thought. I was looking at pictures of the injuries. I don't know why I like looking at nasty shit like that, but I do. The best, I don't know. I think the best athletes in the world, to counter what Ray said, are gymnasts still to this day. I think gymnasts are the best athletes in the world. But what basketball players do, all that weight coming down from jumping up, it's not a surprise that that's a common injury. You see that a lot in soccer too, which is kind of another. I guess you're not too surprised with that injury there, but it's just gruesome seeing that shit. Looking at
it is rare that you see them of that level in boxing. Like guys get hurt in the ring, they break their hands, they tear something in their wrists. Maybe they hurt their ACL. It's very rare that there's like a gruesome or like a Hakeem Rahman, Fernando Vargas bump. You'll see shit like that, but it's rare that you see the same kind of bone snappers like that. And it was just because he hadn't quite gotten his legs back and he was trying to move around. He had a good poker face going and he stepped the wrong way, man, and that was a wrap. I don't know if that's a career-ending injury for him. It was that bad.
I got to see that because I couldn't imagine that in a boxing ring at all.
Just imagine you go to step back and your foot just goes in on itself like that.
Well, we saw the bare knuckle at the Knuckle Mania 3 where the girl, her ankle was out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if that ankle goes the other way,
do they wear shoes in bare knuckle?
Yeah, I was about to ask that. Are they barefoot in there?
No, they wear
shoes,
boxing boots. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, they should.
I feel like that's a big cause of it because I fucked up my ankle. Those like ninja like warped walls and whatnot. You just kind of run up there and just kind of go to the top. I don't know if you guys ever watched like Ninja Warrior.
I watched Hidden Dragon.
So listen. I was at this place. I was at this place, but they didn't. They made you not wear your shoes, so I was just in my socks, and I fucked my ankle up because I was trying to run up that ninja. Apparently, I'm not a ninja because I couldn't make it up the wall. Learned that really quickly. But I fucked my ankle up bad on that wall, and I feel like if I had shoes on, it wouldn't have happened.
Bro, don't let anybody tell you thick boys can't be ninjas, bro. Don't let anybody tell you that bull.
We can be ninjas, man.
We can be whatever we want to be, son. You've seen Andy Ruiz.
Yo, this Paul George injury is disgusting, though. I was looking at these pictures again.
That's the worst.
Oh, it's horrible. Horrible. Random sidebar, but where were we at?
One of the last kind of major fight of the weekend was Carlos Takam beating Tony Yoka, which was a pretty impressive win for Takam.
Well, you guys were all about that fight.
I didn't actually get to watch it live. I actually just watched it today.
I'm checking our chat and everyone's. I'm like, bro,
there was a lot of hype. There was a lot of hype behind Tony Yoka a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they were hot and heavy in the chat when that fight.
I was like, I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Well, there was again, 5 years ago that there was people that were comparing Yoka to Anthony Joshua, and there was some level of expectation that they would have similar careers. And as you saw, Joshua handled Takam pretty easily. And, Takam was just kind of able to walk in and out, hustle Yoka, and he didn't show any kind of snap or any kind of fire similar to Tony Harrison's performance in a lot of ways. I would say we were saying rough weekend for Tony's. Rough weekend to be a Tony. And I think it shows levels. I think the main reason to talk about it is that, comparing those two guys, and a lot of times people say Joshua is overrated, and in some ways he's very overrated, in some ways he's really underrated. And I think the underrated is that he's always willing to fight tough guys. And when you compare the two, right, when he fights Carlos Takam, wins very easily, gets a stoppage. When Tony Yoka fights Carlos Takam, he loses like pretty badly. So I just think it's a tribute to Joshua that he's not out here fighting, tomato cans. He's one of those guys that's actually taking good competition pretty much every fight.
Yeah. I can't speak too much on that because I don't know, to be completely honest. But that's what we do. We keep it real here. We don't lie on this show.
It was worth bringing it up for the fans. I'm sure a lot of people did watch it.
Yeah.
Especially in Europe. If we got any European fans on today.
Hopefully we do. We need some. Speaking of, we have somebody who is booked for the expert hour. We're gonna get him on for the boxing shop tonight, but he wanted to come on at 7 p.m. And we're a late night show. 7 p.m. What is that? Definitely
That's
not our
time, bro. That's
yeah. That's
time.
Who are we talking about? Who are we giving to the expert hour?
Hold on, I'll get the name right now.
Oh,
you don't have it on the tip of your tongue. That's disrespectful, bro. Now you shouldn't even say the fucking name.
Yeah, don't say it, bro. That ain't right now.
I know his nickname. I know his nickname is Zizo, but I don't know what his full name is. His full last name. It's hard to pronounce.
You gotta have that shit ready to go, dude.
Where's it at? Hold on. I have it
ready to go.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not right.
It's Ziad Alamayov.
That sounds like an expert hour,
bro. God bless, bro, because I don't even know who that is, but shout out to him. It doesn't mean he's not good.
yeah. So he's actually, and this is gonna be interesting because expert hour, you see a lot of hate on. Well, sometimes, just in general, not just the expert hour. There's been a lot of talk about the Saudis and the money and all that stuff and whatnot. And Zizo is actually from Saudi Arabia. He's a Saudi Arabian boxer. Okay. So.
That expert hour, you better give him that smoke that you guys be giving us for supporting it. So I'm gonna tune in. And I know you guys don't get too many viewers, but I'm gonna be tuned into that one.
Yeah, and he does look good from clips that he has on his Instagram and everything. I'll shoot you his Instagram, but he does look pretty good. I wish we could have got him on for tonight.
So crazy though, right? Because I know, like I watch those Saudi cards, and I feel like they always have one Saudi guy or something. But boxing is so hard. Like that matchmaking is no joke, right? Like you want to get him in there with someone he could beat, but not someone that's an embarrassment. And those matchmakers deserve lots of credit. I always say Top Rank, I think, has the best, but man, because you get big investments getting knocked off by guys they shouldn't be knocked off by, and it happens. Boxing is a crazy sport.
It is. I just sent him. I sent the I sent his profile to everybody on the Instagram page on the group chat.
I'm on the Unity tab. Go watch the expert hour next week. We gotta up our views as much as we can, as often as we can. We gotta stick together, guys. Fuck all this division.
No, we're still in the ratings war. Fuck the expert hour, but
I've never been in the ratings war, bro.
The ratings war has been me, Ray, and Lukey.
Yeah, and bro, fuck the ratings war. And
Jack and Dakota.
Occasionally, Nibs will do the.
Yeah. Jack and Dakota.
Jack, let me speak to Jack real quick. If you want people to really hear your thoughts and your opinions, come to the boxing shop.
There we go. We're putting that on Instagram and we're tagging Jack.
You're wilding, bro.
What else did we miss last week? You know what? Actually,
we've covered last week. There's a bunch of shit going on next week. I mean, the first random one is the fact that Jean Pascal is coming back on Thursday. He's fighting, yep. He's fighting a guy named Michael Eifert, who I'm not familiar with. Apparently, this is an IBF light heavyweight eliminator. So that doesn't really make any sense. Not sure why that is happening. The other two big ones Saturday. Worth talking about real quick. Jarrell Miller versus Lucas Brown. We got the multiple repeat drug cheat fight. But in Lucas Brown's defense, he just knocked off a pretty decent prospect and knocked him out in the first round. So glad to see him get a big fight. I guess I don't really understand how Jarrell Miller is allowed to box, but
right. We talked about that on Friday too. Like, how do you miss a drug test and then miss another one?
And then miss another one.
Yeah. I didn't know he had missed 3. I thought he was only 2. It was one during a fight camp and then 2 after. That's just crazy.
Yeah, I'm just looking it up.
I think it was
Brown. Lucas
Jack
Brown knocked out Junior Fa in the first round. The guy was 19-1, but he had a test that failed, I believe. I think it was against Shagayev. But they didn't change it to a no contest. But I know that he did fail a test at some point. Jarrell, obviously, multiple times. It's a good heavyweight matchup, though. I mean, I know Brown's 43, but he's coming off, one of the best wins of his career. It could be interesting.
The thing about Miller, though, is I never felt the way I feel. I never felt about him the way I feel about Anderson.
Hey, yo.
No homo.
I
never felt the way you know what I mean? Like, I never felt that he was the next big thing. The other one, I do. And I always get the big babies mixed up, so I'm not even going to mention the name. I'm just going to say Big Baby. But the old Big Baby,
I never felt like it always seemed like Jarrell Miller had great size, but that he was just like a little too big to move how he was going to need to move to beat other top heavyweights. I mean, his last fight, he's almost 350 pounds. I just can't see how, he can be effective at the highest level at that weight. But,
to me, it just seemed like he didn't take training serious. And that's
which he always did. I mean, he was always in shape. I'm looking at it. He was always creeping up to 300 pounds, but he always was fit.
Yeah. Well, I felt like he could have been in a somewhat better shape still. He didn't look bad, but I still feel like he could have tightened up a little bit. But it just didn't seem like, and it makes sense when you think about the fact that, he's technically cheating. It made sense because it just seems like he's the type of fighter who would try to find a little bit of an edge there because he didn't take training as serious, I don't think. But I'll be tuning into that. It sounds like a type of crap.
It's a heavyweight fight, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what's always, the appeal is
it's
heavyweights, no weight limit, get in the ring and fight. You're probably going to see a knockout because one punch, a clean punch from a heavyweight can end things like that. I'll tune in.
Yeah, it's two guys I don't think that are really going to get to the top, but I think Lucas Brown earned his way to a big fight. Decent undercard fight. Jono Carl is fighting Miguel Mariaga. That's a decent undercard fight. The fight in Long Beach that everyone's been clamoring for is Zurdo Ramirez and Gabe Rosado. I know.
Everybody.
Everybody's been asking for this fight, not for Spence. They've been asking for Zurdo and Gabe Rosado, bro. That's what the people wanted.
That's what the people want.
We're going to name the winner the People's Champ then, right?
To be honest, I know, Ray, you make fun of Zurdo Ramirez. I feel like this is somewhat a mismatch. I don't think this is a good fight for Gabe. I mean, he's a pro, and as long as he's active, he's going to take fights like this. But the matchmaking on this is just like, I don't know. I think it's like bordering on unethical.
No, really? Yeah.
I do.
All right, this fight, I'm going to root for Gabe, right? Like, A lot of times I don't even care who wins. I'm gonna watch the fight. I'm gonna root for Gabe.
This is the
And
first.
we're gonna see what happens, right?
This is the
I don't
first.
think there's any way that Ramirez knocks Gabe out. Now, if he wins, I don't know, but I'm willing to take Gabe, Felix, if you want to put something on it.
Let's bet a couple of these right here.
How is he gonna beat this guy if he can't beat Shane Mosley Jr. or can't win a round against Shane Mosley Jr.? You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't.
So you think Ramirez would beat Shane Mosley Jr.?
Definitely.
I don't know.
You're bugging, bro.
All right, 2 shots.
Hey, until Ramirez gets on some type of interview, it don't even have to be our platform. But if it is our platform, I'll take it. And apologizes to Canelo for saying that he's gonna avenge Mexico. Then I'm rooting. I'm against Ramirez 100%. Is what it is. Hey, if Ramirez wants to meet up for a video and apologize to Canelo, then okay, I can accept that. But the way he was acting, like he was so much better, and then he put that performance on against Bivol. Nah, bro. I hope Gabe beats you.
The undercard fight is kind of the one that I'm interested in. It's Jojo Diaz against Mercedo Gesta. I think that's actually a better fight, or at least a better matchup, and maybe even like more meaningful in the landscape of the division, because the winner of this fight could kind of position themselves to be the B side of a big fight. You know, I feel like Jojo's been on a little bit of a slide, and Mercito, even though he's in his mid-30s, like when I covered him out in Indio, man, I mean, I was impressed with him, bro. I was really impressed. He hits really hard. He's super fast. He looked comfortable at the weight. You know, he looked a lot more comfortable than Joel did, and that was kind of wound up being the difference. I kind of like Mercito's chances in this fight.
Yeah, and I don't know who the favorite is, but you know, if we look at it, like a lot of people thought Mercito Gesta was in line for the Ryan Garcia fight, right? I think that might have even been.
They signed it. They had a fight agreed to for January, and then Ryan backed out because he wanted to ensure the tank fight.
Yeah, so that is that. And then I feel like JoJo's in a point where he's fought the best. You know, he fought Haney, undisputed, where he's fought the best, and I feel like he's at a point where, like, hey, I'll fight anybody, right? Because I've fought the best. And then he fought Zepeda, and you know that was a tough fight.
He's coming off 2 straight L's, bro. I mean, he's in a unique spot that he's never been in. You know, if he takes another one, that's 3 straight.
Yeah, no, but I mean, those two straight that he lost against were like, bro, legit guys. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So if he's thinking like, hey, that I mean, arguably that could be 1-2, right? That might be the 2 best guys in the division. And so that just plays into, you know, where's his head at? What's he thinking? Hopefully he's not just taking this just to take it. But you know, where he's been in that and, you know, competitive at times. I felt like Zepeda really stepped it up that fight, and we saw the best of Zepeda.
I thought he was more competitive with Haney.
Yeah.
Really?
Honestly.
Yeah, that's where I'm saying, like, with William Zepeda, I thought, you know, at one point I thought like he was the next guy, and then he kind of had a fight where it was kind of ugly, but then he fought Diaz, and I'm like, wow, this is the guy who I thought he was. But for Diaz, you know, he's fought those 2 losses, yeah, but those are against 2 of the best guys in the world. So now I'm curious to see what he shows against Gesta, who was in line for a Garcia fight, who's in one of the biggest fights this year. So I'm curious.
And who has also been in he's also been in with kind of a who's who of his era at this weight. You know what I mean? Like, it's not all the guys, but he went a full 12 with Jorge Linares, you know, went a full 12 with Miguel Vasquez when he was the top guy at lightweight. You know, beat Joel Diaz Jr., unanimous decision. You know, got a draw with Carlos Morales. So he's been in with a bunch of guys. Beat a guy named Robert Manzanares, who I'm not familiar with, but he was 36-1. They fought a couple of years ago. I think, you know, Mercito's got some good momentum moving in his favor, and seeing him and Marvin and how him and Marvin Somodio work, and it just seems like he's kind of in his prime right now, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's a good fight, man. One that I can't call it. Who's on the up? Who's on the downslide? Yeah, you got Diaz taking 2 losses, but I mean, what does that mean? So
I think they're at similar. Honestly, they're at somewhat similar points because Joel was like a young. He wasn't like a phenom, but he was a really hot prospect when he was young. So was Mercito, but he lost a couple fights so young, and he's gotten better. So now he's 35. And I think he's as good as he's ever been. Whereas JoJo's in his early 30s, and I think that he has taken a little bit of a dip.
yeah,
Is that going to be?
I tried to see if there's odds out for that fight, which I don't see yet. But the Ramirez Rosado fight, bro, they have Ramirez as a minus 3,300. That's crazy. Gabriel Rosado's plus 1,200. Nah, bro. I think Gabe Rosado might be the sleeper on that.
I don't know, bro. Usually I'm all for those bets, but I don't know if I fuck with drop.
Bro, I don't think Ramirez is minus 3,300. Like that's crazy.
That is pretty crazy. But when you think about it, like
he's a bigger favorite. He's a bigger favorite than Shakur Stevenson in his next fight. He's a bigger favorite than Anthony Joshua. Like that's crazy.
Shakur fighting again? It's nobody big, right? It's just kind of a homecoming.
Who?
Showcase. Who's Shakur Stevenson fighting?
The Japanese guy, right?
Oh yeah.
The significance of that fight is that the guy he's fighting is coming off a win over Nakatani, the guy that gave Tszyu a hell a couple of years back.
Okay.
This guy knocked him out. So that's that. I'm not saying that he's a world beater, but he has a win against a world-class lightweight.
Dakota, do you think Ramirez is that big of a favorite though? Like, is that accurate? You think
that's a big gap. 3,300.
3,300. Like that's bigger than I think even Floyd fights back in the day.
I think he is, and it's not just because of the matchup. It's because of the timing of the matchup. It's because Gabe Rosado 3 years ago. I still don't think he wins, but I like his chances to compete. I like his chances to compete at this point, and he's moving up to a new weight class against a guy that could probably fight at heavyweight. Like, I just don't see how this can end well for him.
Yeah, and I mean I get it because Gabe Rosado, I don't know how many he's lost in a row, but
I think it's 3.
I used to hate on Gabe all the time, right? But then he beat Beck the Bully, and that was even a fight he was definitely 100% losing.
He got dropped, didn't he? 2 in the first round.
Yep.
Yeah, he was hurt. I think he was like on his way out. I think when he came back, that's kind of was a surprise. But I just think, man, minus 3,300. That's huge, and
I love that.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say,
what is the scenario where he wins?
Ramirez stops him. What's up?
What's the scenario where he wins? I don't see how he does it. The guy's 6'4". He knows how to box a little something. I just don't think that Gabe's got it to pull the trigger like that against this guy at this point.
And that's this weekend?
Yeah.
Yep.
On the Zurdo undercard. That's going to be in the zone, right?
Yep.
I think I'm actually going to sign up.
I just don't like the matchup. I just don't like the matchup because I think that Gabe's had a really respectable career being the guy to fight every guy. And I just think it's unfortunate that he's going to kind of round it off by fighting this guy that's just much bigger than him. And, I hope he puts up a good show. It's a tough one. He's got an uphill battle.
Yeah, that's for sure. Before we go, I'm gonna just take another shot. Jack, come join us on the boxing shop. This shot is for you, man.
I gotta give this guy some fucking vocal lessons.
There we go. Beautiful. And I'm all out of Patron. There's no more. So next time I drink, it's gonna be when I'm with Ray and he gives me those 2 shots from this bet that we're making for this weekend.
Oh, what's the bet? I got Gabe.
You got Gabe. 2 shots. 2.
Let's go, Gabe. Gatekeeper of the past decade.
Oh man,
don't hand that title over yet, right?
I just want to make a GIF of you going, "Let's go, Gabe."
Yeah,
I'm gonna use that so much.
Those are words that I thought I'd never hear.
Yeah,
we
right.
can do it, but hey, man, I go back and forth, right? I'm not stuck to one.
By the way, I know we're coming to the end of the episode a little here, but I just want to reiterate to anybody that wasn't on at the beginning or is watching it somewhat in the middle. We're going to have Richard Van Sicklen on next week, super middleweight, light heavyweight contender, sparring partner for David Benavidez and Diego Pacheco. So make sure you definitely
so
next week.
You're going to be on with them?
We are.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He's our guest next week.
It's news to me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm telling you, bro. We just put that together today.
I'm gonna give out my question right now. I want to know who marked up David. That's what I want to know.
I know that's gonna be, we definitely gotta ask that. We'll ask that next week.
And by the way, also to everyone watching, we'll have our kinks and our shit worked out a little better next week, and we'll make sure we'll be able to see your comments.
Yeah, well, I can see who's tuning in right now and who's dropping comments. So far, not a lot of comments on the OnlyFans side, but we'll drop by after we upload this episode to YouTube and see what kind of comments people are dropping after the fact.
Yeah.
But will we be able to interact with them on StreamYard moving forward?
Not live. I'm gonna figure out a way to do it live. When we were with Streamlabs, when I was working on getting the Streamlabs overlay and everything, we would have been able to interact and everything, but the way StreamYard is set up, it doesn't get the comments pulled in from OnlyFans. So
and we'll have to set up what is that not this weekend, next weekend, big fight in Vegas. Felix, I'm assigning you with setting up a meet and greet. We're gonna meet and greet.
We're gonna do a meet and greet.
Hey, why not, man? If you listen to us, come have a drink with us.
There we go. We'll meet at the that bar at the MGM, the same bar that we went to last time.
Yes, sir. We'll be there. Weigh in, and we'll be around.
Yeah, there you go. Ray's gonna be taking shots all weekend. He's gonna owe it to me after this weekend's fights.
Let's go, Gabe.
I think that's a good way. I think that's a good way to wrap it up.
That is. And then whenever you're ready to come to the boxing shop, man, come on through. Whenever you're done, whenever you're tired of having the host.
No ratings worth for me, boys. Peace.
Hey, Jack, if you're tired of your host hopping in, all your thoughts, whenever you're getting something off, he's got to hop in. You tired of that, bro? Come to the boxing shop and let people really hear your opinions.
There we go.
We ready.
That's how it is, Jack. We have an open seat ready for you whenever. But that's the episode. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.